Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to Reddit Aliens. I am John, and as always, thank you so much for being here. A good topic for you today. Let's do it. What are some real life mysteries that have actually been solved? Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. The mysterious trails of rocks at Racetrack Playa in Death Valley National Park, California. For many years, the cause of their mysterious rock movements were unknown. However, in recent years, scientists have discovered that the rocks move due to a combination of wind and ice. During periods of rain or melting snow, water freezes into thin sheets of ice on the surface of the lake bed. When the ice breaks apart, it can be moved by wind, and as the ice sheets move, they push the rocks along with them, leaving behind the distinctive trails. They found the remains of the entire Romanov family, so Anastasia did not survive, and neither did any member of Nicholas II's immediate family. Bermuda Triangle turns out to have the expected number of mishaps at sea given the amount of shipping that traverses it. The bloop sound that was recorded in the Pacific Ocean that baffled scientists was finally found to be an ice quake. There was one, maybe not that widely known, about a guy who had found to have committed suicide in a motel in Washington or Oregon. No idea who it was. Strange note crumpled in the garbage that just said suicide. No one ever came forward to say they knew him based on his picture in the papers. Was on all the unknown person forums, even here on Reddit. Just one of those cases that was interesting to me. And after many years, they used the DNA family matching thing and found his family. His family just thought he just went off and was living his life. Whether the Titanic sank in one piece or not, many discounted those survivors who said they saw her split in two because they had a hard time believing such a mighty ship could rip apart like that. It wasn't until Ballard and his crew found her that the truth was revealed. Alyssa Lamb, the woman found dead in the water tank on top of a hotel in Los Angeles. It wasn't murder or ghost. She was mentally ill and having a bipolar episode. I didn't know they actually solved it. I knew that she had something going on with bipolar, but did she then put herself in the water tank? Was that part figured out? How to make gold from lead. Hundreds of years, the alchemists tried it unsuccessfully. Today, it is possible using a particle accelerator. However, it is far from cost efficient. Mining gold is orders of magnitudes cheaper. The boy in the box has been identified as Joseph Augustus Zarelli, although his homicide is still an open investigation. Torosaurus was actually a mature Triceratops. Nanotyrannus was a baby T-Rex. Stygimoloch and Dracarys are younger Pachycephalophosaurus skeletons. Ananotitan was a grown-up Edmontonsaurus, and I think there was a few others just because baby dinosaurs looked drastically different than adults. Most dinosaurs would likely have made some variation of a honk or bark. Jurassic Park got it pretty close with the sound of their raptors. Also, the moai heads have bodies, and they just look like normal guys. The miraculous staircase in the Loreto Chapel in Santa Fe, New Mexico. There was even a movie made about it starring Barbara Hershey. One of the myths is that it stands miraculously without a center support pole, and no engineer can figure out how that's possible. The center stringer is tightly wrapped with only an 8-inch diameter. It acts as the center pole. Nuns said a 9-day novena for a much-needed staircase. A woodworker miraculously showed up from nowhere and built the staircase. It must have been St. Joseph. The staircase was ordered from France. The manufacturer sent a guy to put it together. It's made of wood found nowhere in the area. It's a miracle, because the wood is from France, duh. And finally, the guy who built it stayed in Santa Fe afterward. The local newspaper had his obituary, 1896 or 1898, and even said he was the man who built the staircase. Just last year, the identity of the Somerton Man was discovered. The Somerton Man was an unidentified man whose body was found on 1 December 1948 on the beach at Somerton Park, a suburb of Adelaide, South Australia. The case is also known after the Persian phrase tamam shud, Note 1, meaning is over or is finished, which was printed on a scrap of paper found months later in the fob pocket of the man's trousers. The scrap had been torn from the final page of a copy of Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam's, authored by 12th century poet Omar Khayyam. I don't think I was aware that they identified the Somerton Man. I'd love to hear more about it if anyone has a link or anything like that below. The luminiferous ether. It was thought to be the medium through which light would travel. Since light could behave like a wave and waves needed a medium, it was assumed there needed to be a medium for light that was both transparent because we couldn't see it and infinitely rigid because the stiffness of the medium corresponds to wave speed. Turns out, light is an electromagnetic wave that can travel through a vacuum. 2 ships of the lost Franklin expedition of 1845 were both found in the last decade sunk in the Northwest Passage, northern Canada. The mystery of what happened to the crew, 126 men I think, has been speculated upon with plenty of solid theories, but very few remains have been found. The ships are still being examined and may contain more clues. Ships and planes never mysteriously vanished in the Bermuda Triangle. Sank because of rough weather, and planes dropped because they hit airborne pockets of methane and the engines stalled. Thanks to modern navigation, not a single ship or plane sank there in over 20 years. Spontaneous generation. People used to think flies would spontaneously appear from rotten meat, as every time they had it, flies somehow would appear, even though flies were nowhere close when the meat was okay. After observation and experiments, we understood flies landed in the meat, left their eggs, and then more flies would be born and then stay to eat the meat. That stranded cosmonaut recording is 99% likely to be a hoax. Many have discredited it if the brothers' technology was even capable of picking up the signal of a cosmonaut who's drifted off course. But the real smoking gun is that the woman in the audio recording is speaking in broken Russian, and the 2 brothers who picked up the signal had a sister who was currently learning Russian, which would explain the limited vocabulary and pronunciation issues that skeptics have pointed out. Not a worldwide mystery, but a mystery amongst my mom's side of the family. When my mom was like 8 to 13 years old, she was so close until now with her cousins that they all play together almost every day in their grandma's house, and that house is a 2nd-story house. So here's how the mystery started. My mom, her siblings, and her male cousins played with a ball, and the ball went upstairs and into the only room that the stairs went to. But then the door suddenly went open, and the ball bounced down the stairs. There was a moment of silence, and then they all ran to their grandma, saying that there's a ghost. So their grandma comforted them and told the maid to check on it, and then she found no one there. A few weeks after that incident, they never went up to that room, and then they started to forget about it. Many years later, 2 months ago, my whole family went to my mom's hometown, and she spent time with her brothers and female cousin of hers to go to the cemetery to visit Grandpa. As we were going, my mom remembered that story and started talking about it. Then my mom said, "We never really knew who threw the ball back." And then her cousin said, "That was me." So my mom, her brothers, and her cousins all laughed because the mystery was finally solved. Sadly, her cousin passed away 2 months ago. She revealed the mystery before she died of breast cancer. May she rest in peace. That Easter Islanders disappeared, including theories that they cut down all the trees to make rollers for the Moai. It's totally fabricated theory by Jared Diamond, as the Easter Islands never cut down all the trees. In fact, they didn't even use rollers to transport the statues, and they never died out. Their descendants are alive today, with some of them hired as tour guides on the island itself. The Legends of Troy. thought to be complete fiction, only for the actual city to be found, so the stories of the Trojan War are based in fact. Although I don't know if they have ever been able to find proof to back up any of the details of the Trojan Wars depicted in the great epics. Been a while since I tried researching it. Well, that pretty far back in history to find any type of remains or ruins is great, but I don't know if we're going to think there's going to be a giant Trojan horse or anything like that laying around. So, anyway, still cool. How the pyramids were built. For some reason, people still keep saying we don't know. Well, we do. It boils down to math plus money plus grunt work. The core workers and project leaders were professionals, and some slaves, likely not thousands and thousands, as previously assumed, were used for labor. It's also known that low-wage workers were used as well. That's it. It's not magic, and it's not insulting to ancient people to claim that they couldn't have had any sort of mathematical accuracy or the ability to build with precise lines. Of course they could do that. They had ropes and pulleys and understood leverage and design. They knew what tools to use. They had artisans and engineers.